Thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody to the December 2021 Planning Board meeting for Pitt County. It's the last meeting of the year, and I'd like to call us to order. And if Ms. Otten, if you would call the roll, please.
Fred Austin.
Present.
Don Brown. Don Brown. Naomi Buck. Naomi Buck. David Davenport. David Davenport. Madison Downing.
Present.
Brad Guth.
Here.
Lyman Hardy. Lyman Hardy. R.J. Hemby.
Here.
John Landron.
Present.
Steve Little. Steve Little. Charles McLaughlin.
Here.
Okay. Back up, Don Brown. I see that he's online, but muted. Don Brown. Mr. Brown, unmute yourself.
I'm here. I'm
Okay.
here.
All right, perfect.
Thank you. Naomi Buck.
Here.
Okay. I think that's everyone that's online.
Thank you, Ms. Otten. And we have a quorum to conduct.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. If everyone would join me for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Now, if you'll join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I believe Ms. Otten had sent us the minutes by email and classic mail. So if unless there's any questions or corrections, if I can hear a motion to approve those minutes, please.
I so move, Mr. Chairman. This is Charles McLaughlin.
Second, Don Brown.
Thank you, gentlemen. And Ms. Otten, if we could do a roll call vote, please.
Yes, sir. Fred Austin.
Approved.
Don Brown.
Approved.
Naomi Buck.
Approved.
Madison Downing.
Approved.
Brad Guth.
Approve.
R.J. Hemby. R.J. Hemby. John Landry.
I'm present. Sorry about that.
Did you approve the minutes, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Sorry.
John Landron. Approved. Charles McLaughlin.
Approved.
Okay, thank you.
We've approved the minutes. Now, are there any folks in the audience signed up for the public address this autumn?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. So we'll move on to item number 5, which is proposed amendments to the Pitt County zoning ordinance. And I'm not sure if Mr. Gooby or Mr. Rhodes is going to handle that, but I'll turn it over to either one of them.
I'll take that, Mr. Chair. Appreciate it. Let me get my screen shared here real quick. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We do have a couple of quick ordinance amendments for you tonight. Just as some background, the board probably recalls back on, this board heard these amendments back in August, and on September 27th, the commissioners approved these amendments to add data processing facility large scale to the table of permitted uses, as well as establishing development standards and a definition for those uses. That request was made by Compute North, who subsequently, after the amendments were approved, submitted a request to have a special use permit for that type of facility on a piece of property on NC 33 West, out near Belvoir School or Belvoir Elementary School. That request did receive significant public opposition and was ultimately withdrawn. But following that, the Board of Commissioners did direct staff to look back at those amendments that were approved to see if there were other revisions need to be made, and also to remove it from the rural residential zoning district, which is what that property was zoned for, or was zoned as, that they were planning to use for the facility. So in addition to removing it from the RR district, we do have several other amendments after looking back at those standards. Two of the things that were repeatedly brought up as concerns with that particular use at that site was the separation distance between it and the school, and also surrounding residences, and also the noise that would potentially be generated from that use. So we're proposing some standards or some additional changes to those standards to address those, and also just a quick clarification on the definition to discuss what type of data these types of facilities can process. So the Board of Commissioners is scheduled to hold a public hearing for these on January 10th. And I'll kind of go through these real quickly. Under the table of permitted uses, as we see, as we were directed, we were removing that from consideration in the RR district. It would still be a special use permit, the Class 1 special use permit in the RA, general commercial and heavy commercial, and then permitted with development standards in our two industrial categories. For the development standards, again, under number 1, you see where it's required, remove that from the RR district. And then under 3, for the use separation, the current requirement that was proposed originally was 100 feet from any residence. We're proposing to increase that to 1/4 mile and also add that from churches and schools as well. So be 1/4 mile from any church, school, or residence. And that is consistent with the setbacks or the separation from some other uses that we've got, such as shooting ranges, like sexual oriented businesses, that sort of thing. So that 1/4 mile is consistent with all of those. Under number 4, the submittal requirements, the site plan that they provide, again, just changing that separation distance. So the site plan will need to show, instead of any residence within 100 feet, it'll need to indicate the location of any church, school, or residence within 1/4 mile. Also, we're going to be adding another submittal requirement. It's a study. It will require a study prepared by an acoustical engineer that describes the amount of noise to be generated by the facility, as well as any proposed mitigation efforts. So they'll have to describe how much noise is going to be generated and what they're going to do in terms of mitigating that noise, whether it's sound walls, whether it's additional separation or silencers. Those will all have to be described in that study to try to address that concern. Adding another section, number 11, noise. Again, basically in conjunction with that study, the facility will have to comply with the requirements of the Pitt County Noise Ordinance, and also should not disrupt the activities of the adjacent land uses. So those will work hand in hand to try to mitigate those noise concerns that might come with these types of facilities. And then with number 12, it's just changing the numbering on number 11 to make it number 12. Then under the definitions, just adding some examples of the type of data that these facilities would use. The company itself that had applied for the special use permit, there was a lot of talk about them being a cryptocurrency mining company, and that is one part of their business, but they also used their equipment to process other types of data, things like weather modeling, genome sequencing. So we just wanted to make sure that the definition addressed that, and it was made known that that was not the only, that cryptocurrency was not the main or the only type of data processing that could occur at these types of facilities. So we as staff, we think that the amendments are consistent with the goals of the Pitt County Comprehensive Land Use Plan to maintain an effective jurisdiction-wide land use program. And staff does recommend or request that the planning board provide a favorable recommendation to the Board of Commissioners with an immediate effective date. So we'd like now entertain any public comments. I don't know that we have anybody logged in for any comments, Mr. Chair. And after that, the board will then make a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners. And again, they're scheduled to hold a hearing on January 10th at 6:00 p.m. So with that, Mr. Chair, we'd like to open up for any public comments.
Thank you, Mr. Gooby. Is there any questions for the board for Mr. Gooby? And Ms. Auten, just to confirm, there are no members of the public that are interested in commenting on this at this time?
No, sir.
All right. Well, then I will entertain a motion from the board to make this recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners for these changes.
I'd like to go ahead and make that motion to approve these amendments to this zoning.
Thank you, Mr. Austin. Do I hear a second?
John Landrine, second.
Thank you, Mr. Landrine. All right, Ms. Auten, if you would do a roll call vote for the motion to approve these zoning amendments.
Fred Austin,
Approve.
Don Brown,
Approve.
Naomi Buck,
Approved.
Madison Downing,
Approved.
Brad Guth,
Approve.
RJ Hemby,
Approve.
John Landron,
Approve.
Charles McLaughlin,
Sorry, approved.
and also, Mr. Chairman, I noticed that Lyman Hardy joined us. Do
Okay.
you approve the minute, the motion, Mr. Hardy?
I approve.
Okay,
And thank you. So with that, the motion to approve is passed, and this will go to the Board of County Commissioners at their January 10th meeting as a recommendation from the Planning Board. The next item on our agenda is informational items, and I believe this is Mr. Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and happy holidays, everyone. Just a few informational items. Again, probably to look back on 2021, we've had a lot of things come before the board this year. Again, in a virtual environment for the most part, and we really appreciate your participation throughout the year. Just know going into 2022, one of your major projects, as Eric presented last month, is the Pitt County Comprehensive Land Use Plan update. As we've discussed, our new state legislation requires all communities that have zoning in place to have a current land use plan. Ours has just turned 10 years old. We've done some updates with some areas that were growing fairly quickly, such as the Southwest Bypass and the NC 43 South Corridor. But all said, we need to take a closer look at everything that's going on out in our planning jurisdiction. So starting in January of 2022, provided that the commissioners approve our contract with our selected consultant at next week's commissioners meeting, we will start in earnest our update to our land use plan. So just know you'll probably be getting monthly reports, and also sometime around, I'd say every quarter, we'd also be providing more information about the land use plan and where we are in the development process. We really see at this point that the planning board would serve as our steering committee. So you will be our sounding board. You will be providing a lot of good input as we go through this process. So a lot more information to come, and we'll probably hit you pretty hard come January with more information about that project. On from that, map review officers, if you've looked at that information, that was something that the commissioners dealt with at their last meeting. Several planning staff members serve as map review officers, and that is a requirement, again, by state statute, that each county have map review officers designated by the Board of Commissioners. And in turn, we hold a responsibility. Several of our staff members are responsible for signing off on certain types of plans and plats. We were successful in bringing in well over $120,000 for Emergency Solutions Grant Award. That is to help our homeless population here in Pitt County become stably housed. Right now, there's a big challenge with just finding available housing units for folks to reside in, and we're hopeful that more units come available in 2022. There's also our monthly report, as well as other correspondence in there, a lot of information. Fortunately for Pitt County, we have our election districts completed. At the state level, there's a lot of new discussion about those election districts. So just know the primaries will be on before us fairly quickly. And with that, final slide. Again, thank you for all your participation and willingness to serve the citizens of Pitt County throughout the year. We look forward to working with you in the new year and hope everyone has a very happy holiday. So, Mr. Chairman, that's all we have for tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes, and happy holidays to all the staff and their great work that they put in this past year, and look forward to the next year and more with the comprehensive plan coming up. And is there any other comments from the planning board?
Just like to return the best wishes for the holidays to everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Austin.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with that being said, I guess we will adjourn on a voice acclamation. And Happy New Year, everybody.
New Year to you too, sir.
Happy holidays, everyone.